Here's a model paragraph that's kind of at the end result of all of the work you do. You start off with your brainstorming, getting a lot of material, a lot of which you won't use, and then you narrow it down to the best passages for your thesis and your theme. And the reason you do that is that if you just get enough to fill out, your 4 or 5 body paragraphs, you're probably not going to have the best material. But if you get enough to fill up 5 paragraphs, or pardon me, to fill up 6 or 7 or 8 paragraphs and then narrow it down to the best stuff to fill up 4 or 5, you should have some good stuff. I recall a friend who went to Berkeley to get his PhD about 50 years ago or so, and he said that the instructors would tell him, if you want a good 5-page paper, write a 10-page paper and cut it down. So always start off with more than you need and then narrow it down to your best stuff. How's that? So when you're writing an essay, you have to get all your ducks in a row, and that means you need many scenes that bring that theme to life. I will correct that here because it's a live document. A good feel for the dramatic context. That is, once you localize your quotes, read everything around them just to make sure you're using them in the right dramatic context, because, it's a play. Meaning comes out of what happens. You always have to have that, what the heck are they doing, that gives it meaning. And then, so you want to make sure you can put the quotes in context, and a good feel for how do you want to use the passage to articulate your theme. So my theme is, what people do when no one is looking reveals their character. Simple enough. The play is full of that. And one of the scenes, out of several, Act 2, Scene 1, when Antonio and Sebastian are about to murder Gonzalo and Alonso to get rid of both witness Gonzalo and impediment to their power, Alonso. Maybe that sounds better with the article the. Okay? See, I'm always revising these. So these are the lines I like. Sebastian, after he's finally been sold by Antonio, that murder's a good idea. So he says, thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gotst Milan, all come by Naples. Draw thy sword, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest. You remember that from Act 1, Scene 2. And I, the king, shall love thee. Sebastian will take over for Alonso, and Antonio pushes it further. Draw together. Let's get the swords going. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo. Very good. So then I fold these lines into a paragraph. That's the next step. So I have the scene, I know the context, I have the lines, and I have to have a topic sentence that connects with my thesis. What people do when no one is looking reflects their character. So here I go. Here's a topic that connects with the thesis and provides a little bit of context, just enough, what's going on. So, with no witnesses to check their viciousness, and that is what people do when no one is looking, reflects their character. So, with no witnesses to check their viciousness, Antonio and Sebastian plan to murder sleeping Alonso and Gonzalo. They're equally vile, as Sebastian's power-grabbing murder of his brother Alonso is no less a sin of betrayal and bloodshed than was Antonio's hatching the dark of night plot to kill his brother Prospero. And then I have to lead in for the quote. As these twins of Cain get ready for cowardly blood, Sebastian signals the go-ahead for Antonio. As thou gotst Milan, all come by Naples. Draw thy sword, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee. And I follow it through for the next quote. Antonio takes the lead one step further and commands they draw together. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo. And then I move into analysis. 2 killings with one goal, advancement. Brother killing for Sebastian, betrayal for both, come together because the coast was clear. That echoes my theme. Nobody's looking. The plan is vicious in the extreme, yet human frailty is common. So I want to connect it to what it means to be human. Many of us cheat when no one knows. Cheat on taxes, cheat on spouses, cheat on tests, cheat by plagiarizing essays. Good, I get to correct it here. Shakespeare taps into a universal weakness and twists it into a near bloodbath. So I like that. The paragraph is good. It's got a lead that connects it to the theme. It's got enough context, but not too much. You don't want to retell the story, so you know what's going on. The quotes bring in the actions that illustrate the theme, because they could do this because the coast was clear. And then I just connect it to sort of a broader meaning of this is kind of what it means to be human. I mean, it's a vicious and bloody thing, but it's also, you know, many miles down the road from that hand in the cookie jar when nobody's looking. So it's very human as well. So, and I here give you another version. You notice here the lines are kind of indented all the way like that. And the point is, with Shakespeare, you want to keep the lines. You don't want to just wrap them without letting people know where the lines work. And when you do this, when you doubly indent, you don't use a quote because the indentation covers for the quote, lets you know it's not your text. And you don't need the quote here either. And also the period becomes before the citation, 2-1, 292/5. You don't have to say 295 if they're in the same decade. Similarly here, you don't need quotes. Period goes before the parentheses, 2-1, 296-8. I don't know why that is. It's just the way it is, the weird punctuation. Anyway, and then here I have the same material, but I wrap the quotes. When you do that, you mark the line with a /. And then since I'm wrapping them, I use the quotation marks because they don't stand out with the double indentation. And then I put the period after the parenthetical citation. And the same thing happens here. So it's the same stuff, I just wrapped it differently. Some people may want to do it that way, some people may want to do it this way. Either way, it's the same information. So I hope this gives you an idea of the process. You want to take some time. You want to have, as I did in my brainstorm, more information than you'll ever need. And then as you start writing, you pick out the best things. So it's not just the first things, but it's the best things. You have, let's say, 6 or 8 great scenes, but you're only going to be able to write about 4 of them. I mean, check this out. I've got, in one scene, pardon me, I did a word count. It was like 192 or something. And now this will extend it a little bit with all the double indentation. But if I wrap the text, that's the better part of a page there. And so just keep in mind that you only need a handful, 4 or 5 really strong observations to bring your theme alive, and then you bracket that with an introduction and a conclusion, and you have a strong essay. So I hope this helps you understand the process, and I will also attach a printed copy below this YouTube video, so you get, I guess a reference you can follow without listening to me, okay?